Welcome to day 3 of 10 days of getting 4 to 5 figure deals without getting overwhelmed, even if you don't have an offer or prospects yet. We are going through all that stuff with the amazing John Logar. Hey, John.
Hey, Yvonne, how you doing?
Good. So day 3, guys, and I always do that. So day 3, what you want to do is you want to hop on in consultingrocket.tv/live. There are already like 15 people on the page engaging with us. And what we want to know is yesterday, John walked you through finding high quality prospects. Did you take some action? Did you find some prospect? Did you fill up this Google spreadsheet? Leave that in the comments. Let us know where you are right now. And if you need more help, because today is going to be all about engaging those prospects and leading them to an appointment. But before we go that way, I want to show you some stuff. So we've been talking about making this whole process more fun, more exciting, and giving you some goodies to kind of turn it into a game. And a lot of you have been taking us up on that. So let's see. So right here, if you are guys, hop on in, consultingrocket.tv/live. You're going to get to this page. First of all, click on this link. You're going to get to the worksheet. You want to download that, print it, so you can write and fill it in. There's a lot of goodies in here. And then check this out. Our first prize is Fast Start Consulting Program that is valued at $2,000. John, what's in that program?
Well, basically, it is a step-by-step process that I take you through. I walk you through a pitching process rather than a proposing process. I give you pitch decks, email campaigns. I show you exactly a really simple step-by-step process from taking client to the initial inquiry stage all the way through to closing a deal. So you have all the exact tools and resources that I would use in my sales process in the Consulting Fast Start program.
And our first person in the lead up is Francis. We're going to show you what he's doing to be the leader up in the game so far. You still have 7 days to win this. The second prize is 1 hour recorded coaching session with John one-on-one. John, what's going to happen in that 1 hour?
So in this one-on-one, what I normally do is I'll actually sit down with you and walk you through a clear process with you for your business. So we're going to talk about the client, the actual opening, the opportunity to generate the sale, then what you've got to say to convert them to an appointment, and then from there, how you pitch them and how you close them into a deal. So we record that whole session so you can listen to that back. I literally walk you through step by step from how you approach to how you get them to make the appointment, to how you present, and more importantly, how you close the deal. So I go through market intelligence. We can talk about niches, but it is a recorded session with me. A lot of people have done these sessions with me. It's valued at well over $1,000 to do one of these. I normally charge about $1,500 for a 90-minute session like this. But yeah, if you are part of the exercise of sharing and posting, then you'll be in the running to win a one-on-one session with me privately, which is fully recorded. And the idea is to give you clarity and a path to give you positive outcomes and sales for your business.
And the cool thing, guys, I have to tell you from experience, this has been the one thing that really propelled me in my own business. This one-on-one with Johns, they're really priceless. So hop on them. And then the last prize, we just added that today. Third place is going to get the $1 million agency recording. What's in that?
So this was where I actually had consultants and agencies from all over the world ask me very specific questions. And a lot of the questions that came up was, how do I get to 7? How do I scale to 7 figures? And so what I did was I did a part 1 and part 2, where I literally walked through step by step on how you go from scratch to 7 figures in 90 days. Now, we've had people who've done that in 1 month. We've had people who've done it in 4 months, but I literally walk through a process, how it can be done in 90 days, and I answer all the questions that enable you to build the plan and the structure and the focus to achieve that outcome. So you have a part 1 and part 2. Normally we don't actually share that with anybody. This is something that I recorded. It was in New York. It was done live. But as I said, we had agency owners from all over the world ask very specific questions about how they would make direct impact to their agency. And essentially, I went through step by step and said, this is exactly how you do it. So we have the full recordings for the person who comes in third, who is posting and sharing our live free training here at the moment.
Yeah, so let's show you guys. So in order to do that, you have to just register to play, become a player, so we can track you, right? So we can get you some points. And right now, Francis, I believe, is number 1, and he's like leading by a long shot, right? Lauren's number 2. So how do you catch up with Francis? Super easy. Check out what he's doing. He's logging in, but he's referring. Look at that. Robert started doing that, referring visitors. Every time you do that, that's 100 points. And that's what gets Francis to the top right there. Sharing on Twitter, sharing on Facebook, inviting people, just sharing your links and having people click on them gets you 100 points right here. And then when someone actually just signs up, registers to play for free, you get 300 points. So super, super, super easy to hop on in and actually play and have fun. And when you join us right now, consultingrocket.tv/live, make sure that you are logged in, because as you're watching the training, you also gonna get some points just for being a part of this training, watching, engaging, commenting, participating. You're not going to get the points for Facebook or LinkedIn because we can't track that. So you have to come to this site up on here and register and get engagement, and let us help you with everything that you're struggling with in your business. Now, we're hearing a lot of people saying like, this is amazing. We're watching the replays. This is mind blowing. So much information, so good. And we're building on top of it, right? So first day, you guys got your offer. Second day, we got the prospects. And today we're going to talk about, now that we have that list, how do we engage those prospects and get them on the phone so we can actually have a sales conversation with them. That's what we're at today. Hop on in, and John, let's get started.
All right, so this is probably one of my favorite things, and what I wanted to share with you is, so this is anybody can do this. What I'm about to share with you in relation to being able to engage prospects in the market, I still use this strategy today very, very successfully, and it works brilliantly. Every time I use it, it opens the door to generating client opportunities. So we use it in our agencies. It's something that we highly recommend, or I highly recommend that everybody does. And you'll be actually surprised. Like, you'll be surprised that some of you might have actually done this without realizing it. Some people here might have even generated a client by doing what I'm about to share with you and being able to engage people directly. So I'm just going to build some context here, and then what I'm going to do is I actually want to spend more time answering your questions today, because this strategy is really simple, and if you do this, I'll guarantee you're going to open the door to client opportunities. More importantly, you're going to speed up the process of generating sales, and it's one of the easiest ways that you can generate appointment opportunities as well. So just to give you the context, one of the things that we don't understand, or we get confused sometimes, is we don't understand the true value of what it is that we know. We actually underestimate how important and how valuable the skills and the knowledge that we have in relation to if we understand Facebook marketing or advertising or promotions or email marketing or automation or web dev. When you start having conversations with people about what you know about online marketing or how people can get great results from online, people's eyes either glaze over or they just go, wow. Right? They just go, wow, this is amazing. It's like you're like a brain surgeon. But here's the thing, and I just want to preface this so you understand how important this is. When you hang out with a whole bunch of other people who know the same thing, or similar things to you, or perhaps have got more skill and more understanding, but you are in a group, you're in a community of other internet marketers or direct response people or advertising or promotional people. When you're in that community, what you do is you start getting a blindness towards the efficacy or the power of what it is that you know in your knowledge. This is very valuable because some of you here, your knowledge turns opportunity into clients, into paying customers. People can generate revenue, people can save time, make money, save money, all those sorts of things. And these have a direct physical impact on a business owner, a business, and the people around those businesses as well, including the customers. So we have this knowledge. And if we share that knowledge, or we hang around other people that have similar knowledge and we're learning from those people, what we tend to feel is that what we know isn't really that special. Why would anybody want to listen to me? Or why would anybody think that this, an autoresponder is special? And I'm going to give you an example why an autoresponder is so special. I travel a lot. Those of you who know me, I do extensively travel. In fact, I'm traveling at the moment. I'm sitting in Venice, California. 10 minutes ago, I was on a rooftop garden saying, hey, come along to the live stream. And so I do travel extensively. And when I travel, I go to a lot of conferences, a lot of trade shows. I meet a lot of people. And I'm curious. I ask lots of questions about their business and how they're going. And I'm telling you, so there's a trade show that I go to every year called CES. It's Consumer Electronics Show. It is one of the largest trade shows in the world. There are over 4,000 exhibitors. There are billions of dollars worth of sales being made, and companies spend hundreds of millions of dollars, or tens of millions of dollars, or millions of dollars, or tens of thousands of dollars to be at this trade show. And they're all looking, and some of these people I speak to are CEOs of $150, $200 million companies. And one time I was speaking to a company, a chief marketing officer of a robotics company. And in this conversation, I was just asking, like, how do you manage your clients? How do you do product launches or updates on your products and services? And he would say things like, well, we've got a sales team. They reach out to our prospective clients and they do demonstrations. They'll share the updates, and great. So do you like broadcast an email or let people know prior to this coming, or how do you let people know? And he said, well, normally we do it, by phone, or we'll send out a bit of direct mail, or the occasional on email. And I said, so you don't do a massive broadcast to your client list at one go, and run sequences and automate that process? And he said, use an autoresponder, right? You don't use an autoresponder? And the guy turned around and said to me, what's an autoresponder? This is a chief marketing officer of a large tech robotics company in charge of all their marketing, branding, messaging, campaigns for their sales teams. Didn't know what an autoresponder was, right? And he said, what? You mean you could actually broadcast, personalize a message, run multiple campaigns, like all at the same time? And I said, yeah, with a tool called an autoresponder, right?
Yeah.
And so it's amazing, these little things. We know so much, but we undervalue what we do. And here's the challenge. And I always make a joke about this, but I'm serious when I say this. I often say to people, stop hanging around internet marketers.
Yeah.
Now, you can be friends with internet marketers. By all means, be friends with them. And you can learn some cool stuff and some cool tactics. But don't listen to them when it comes to business, because most internet marketers do not know how to grow or how a business operates. And so by listening to these people, they're going to keep your mindset at a level thinking that everybody knows this stuff. And that's because the communities that you're hanging around with and the people you hang out with all know this stuff. And so it doesn't seem like a brain, a wow moment to say autoresponders or a sales funnel or, those sorts of things. It doesn't seem like it's a big thing. But let me tell you, that knowledge outside in the real world is incredibly powerful. What you know right now, even the very little that you know, even if you're a generalist and you've been trying affiliate marketing or SEO or blogging or do a little bit of AdWords or whatever, even the fact that you've had that exposure puts you in a very unique category of knowing more than what most people know. And so the reason I'm giving you this context is because this strategy I'm about to share with you is such a simple strategy that so many people that I work with, in fact, we did this, one of my champions did this the other day and generated $48,000 worth of clients by doing this exact tactic that I'm about to share with you that you can do as well. And anybody can do this. I've even started my businesses doing this. In fact, I launched an agency doing this very thing in the marketplace. So understand that what you know is very powerful. Understand what you know is above where some people are thinking, right? And understand that people are intrigued. People don't know what's going on. They are interested. They know that it has an impact. They know that they're part of it. But the more you demonstrate your knowledge to people, the more they're going to view you as somebody as an expert or somebody that knows what they're talking about. And so if you want to be able to sell, you want to be able to communicate what you do, but more importantly, you want to be able to share or show people how it creates an effect or an outcome for them. So here's the strategy. It's really, really cool. It's really simple. You want to reach out to people. These campaigns that we talked about a couple of days ago, to the list, right? You can ask this question, and this is a really simple one. Would you like me to show you how this works and how it can get a result for your business? Would you like me to show you how a Facebook ad campaign, crafted correctly, optimized properly, managed correctly, can give you quality prospects and leads, brand your business, provide your message engage your audience directly, make you first choice in the market. If I can show you how that works, would you be interested in seeing how that applies? Can I teach you what I know? That is the most engaging and simple strategy you can use. You can do that one-on-one with a business owner, or you can come into a business and say, let me show your management team how this works. Now, here's the clincher. We're skipping ahead of the whole closing the sale here, because this is how you can really easily close a sale. So I'm going to give you a little bit of insight before we get into closing deals and sales in the other trainings that we're doing. In this training here, this very idea can literally walk you into a sales opportunity, right? So you want to offer, say, hey, can I just show you how to optimize a Facebook ad campaign so that you can actually monitor and measure the conversions, and more importantly, improve your ability to acquire your customers? Can I walk you through how that works? Just so you know, right? Now, at the end of your training or your presentation, right, that you're going to give to people, that you offer to people to show them how this works, you're going to ask a question, and it's a two-way question. One question is, hey, what have you learned? What did you like about what I taught you? And the second question, so they can say, wow, I love this idea. Oh, it's great. I didn't realize it was like this. Oh, wow, it's so complex. Oh, wow, that's amazing. I can't believe that we can actually track, from where somebody logs in to where somebody actually goes through an appointment schedule to where somebody makes a sale or where somebody buys a product. It's incredible. So what was the best takeaway did you learn from what I've just shared with you? And two, you can do this yourself, or would you like me to set it up for you and run it for you?
So let's dive into this, because this is fantastic. I love that you say that. Because for me, yesterday, I was just talking to my sales guy, and he's like, dude, you're underpricing yourself. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like everybody can do blah, 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 blah. And he's like, no. And we go and we do some research online, and he's right? In my head, everybody can just do this. But he's like, no, nobody can do what you do, right? And so we're looking at prices and kind of come back to reality. My challenge with this process, John, is how do you demonstrate and how do you do that without getting into all the nitty gritty stuff, right? Then let's do a Facebook campaign, right?
Yeah.
Because there's so many spaces.
If I was talking about a Facebook campaign, just to answer that question, because what we do is we get into the technicalities. So this is what you don't want to do. You don't want to get into the tech. You don't want to get into the tech. What you want to get into is the what of it and the why of it. Why is it important to do this? And what is it about this that makes this work, right? If you're going to get into a little bit of the detail, you want to talk more in broad brushstrokes. So if I was describing a Facebook ad campaign, I would say there's 4 parts to a campaign, right? First of all, there's the audience, right? Who are we sending this to? Who are we making the offer to? What is the thing that's going to entice them? The second part of that is the offer. What offer are we making that's going to engage them or have them engage? Then we've got to look at the creative, right? Because that's going to grab their attention. We've got 3 seconds to grab their attention, and we've got to look at making the creative work. If we have the wrong creative, we can turn people off. Or we have the right creative, we can attract an abundance of viral activity. And the fourth thing is the copy, the sales copy, which is the salesmanship in print that will guide people through what they need to do to take action on for this campaign. So if we're going to run an ad campaign, we need to look at the audience, we need to look at the message, right? The actual creative, right? The offer, the creative, and the actual message, the copy, right? And so from there, we now need to look at some basic fundamentals, because, like anything in marketing, we don't know if the offer is going to work. So what we're going to do is we're going to craft a couple of different versions, and we're going to test a couple of different versions. And from testing that, we're going to see which one works the most, and then we can actually improve or increase our investment in the campaign that works the best, so that you get the best outcome and the results. And so we want to be able to track that, we can measure that, but ultimately the reason why most campaigns fail is because they've either missed their audience, the offer isn't right, the creative isn't right, it hasn't been tested properly, and the messaging, the copy, isn't communicating in a way that is engaging your audience. Now, these are really basic fundamental things that everybody has in Facebook advertising, but I'm not actually going in talking about what types of images should I post? I'm not talking about what type of sales copy do I need to write. I'm not going into the, what's the audio, how do we extract or identify the audience from the market. I'm not actually going into the how-to. I'm going into the what's really important to make it work and why is this important, right? So that's how you would go through and describe. So think about the elements of what you do. So for example, if I was describing email marketing and reignition campaigns, right? I would sit there and say, look, number one, most people do not run promotions to their business, but they do a one-shot deal. Now, if you do a one-shot deal, you've got to grab people's attention. If you don't grab their attention on the very first shot, then you're done, right? You're blown, the campaign's ended. You're never going to get that customer back again for this offer because you just did it once, right? But what if we're able to run a campaign that helped people through a progression, through a sequence where we educated them, we informed them, we enabled them, we asked them to take the action, and we also could actually track and measure, and we can actually intersperse other offers inside the campaign, both soft and perhaps a little bit more blatant. And the idea is so that, like in advertising out into the marketplace, the more you share your message and your offer, the more that people visibly see and engage with it, the more likely they are to take the chance of taking the action of the next step. And that's either to fill in a form or buy your product or service. So when we're setting up a campaign in email, what we're doing is, again, we're looking at the offer, we're looking at the a sequence of communications that help people to have walk them through the next logical step of buying your product to be able to entice them through. So now we're not doing a one-shot deal, hoping that our campaign is going to win. What we're doing now is we're actually allowing the market to see our offers on a multiple times, and we're also interspersing value to give them the next logical step in how we're buying. Right now, I didn't go through. What we're going to do is we're going to sit down and craft the whole campaign out. We're going to deconstruct an offer, then we're going to do some A/B split testing. We're going to, half the list is going to get one offer, the other half is going to get another offer. Then we're going to set up the autoresponders. Then we're actually going to set some timing up in the sequence. And then once we do that, we can actually put some links in there. We can tag and we can measure. I'm not going into the detail of the hows. I'm just talking about what is important and why is important for you. So that's the distinction that you want to make when you're teaching people, because as soon as you get into the tech, their eyes glaze over, right? And you lose them. So you don't want to get into the tech. You just want to completely focus on, look, this is why, this is what this is, right? This is what it is and why this is so important. And this is kind of how it's working for, out there in the market. Like, this is what you're seeing. The most successful companies that do this properly, Domino's Pizza, for example, sends sometimes up to 4 or 5 emails a day to its entire list. They spend about $7.5 million a year just on email copy. Yeah. Domino's Pizza spends $7.5 million a year on email copy and campaigns that they run out to their lists in the market. And that's why they sell over $1.5 billion of $5 pizzas.
So you would call this a strategy session, would you not? Like, where?
No, I wouldn't call it. No, I would just call it. Let me show you. Let me share, or let me train you how to do this. I'll give you a little bit of training. So the beauty of this is, there's a couple of ways you can do this. So when you're on, say, hey, I'd love to share a really simple strategy that I know gets results for business like you, and it involves this type of platform. Facebook, AdWords, because you might have tried AdWords and it might have sucked, or you might have tried Facebook and it didn't work for you. But let me just show you exactly how it works, so you know that if you go to use this platform, that you've got the best opportunity to achieve a result. The second offer might be, say, hey, you know what if I train your team? I can actually sit down and walk you through. It'll take an hour. I'll show you exactly what to do. At the end of that, you can ask me questions, but at least you'll know roughly, you'll know a better way, or at least give you a better perspective of how this works. A lot of the champions that I work with do the whole training thing. Some people even get paid to do the training. But at the end of the training, because your campaigns and because of all these things are so complex, you still have the opportunity to say, you know what did you get out of this? 2, look, if you like, would you like to go and implement this yourself? Have you got a team member that knows how to do this? Or would you like us to do it for you? And that opens you directly up to a sales opportunity. And the last bit is you don't need to do this as a live or Loom. You can do this as a Zoom. You can do this on Skype. You can do this face-to-face if you want to do it face-to-face. You can even do it over the telephone. But The thing that I love is you can educate using screenshots. So you don't even have to be face to camera, although it would be preferable if you used a face to camera situation. But you could screenshot a 15-minute presentation on how to do something, like go through and, hey, this is what works and why it's important. You do a what works and why it's important. And if you'd like to know more, click this button. Let's talk about how we can help you. If you would like us to come in and apply this or implement this strategy for you, click this button and let me go walk you. So 3 things. 1, teach what you know, right? Show people, right? So demonstrate a workflow. Number 2, train. Do a little training program. Hey, this is how we set up an ad campaign, right? This is how we go and devise an offer for an ad campaign. This is what we do to select creative for a campaign, to make a campaign work. And the last one is, let me just show you one piece in the puzzle of what it is and why this is important to you. And if you'd like to know, or if you'd like us to have a chat or show you how we can implement this for you, just click this button here, like this link at the end of this video, right? And grab a time on the calendar. I can have a quick chat and we can show you how you can implement this if this is something you'd like to do. So teaching people what you know is one of the fastest and easiest ways to build authority. It also engages people. It's a way that you build rapport and relationship. And the big thing is I'll guarantee you it opens up a sales opportunity, because I cannot tell you how many people have asked me. So I'll give you a perfect example of this. I was sitting down, and this is a friend of mine. Well, he's a friend now, but at the time, somebody who I met. And he runs a very successful financial services company in New York City. He's on Bloomberg TV all the time. He's interviewed on the New York Stock Exchange all the time. He's very well recognized, very well known. And he was saying, look, I've got a team of 8 people, salespeople, and we're obviously getting lots of leads. I've got a lot of notoriety, I've got expertise and authority, but I really got to find a way to kind of get appointments for my people. And I said, you know what you could do? You could just get that person on a video very quickly and say, hey, this is my specialty. This is what we do at this company. This is how we help people get amazing returns or minimize their risk or get a better structure in their planning. And here's some of the things that we've been able to help people with. My speciality is in this area. If you'd like to talk to me personally, just click on this button here and book some time on my calendar, 10, 15 minutes. I'll answer any question that you have, and maybe from there we can take it further. I just had this conversation. What if we could do that? And what if we just stick it on your page, in your website, and we can direct people right to the page, and they can watch that 5-10 minute video, see the authority and the expertness out of your person, understand what they're really good at, understand how they help people get results like them. And if they'd like to have an initial conversation just to start the conversation, that they can click the link, get a direct link into their calendar, and now you can have all your people, not just you, having authority within your business and their speciality, and also be able to build that rapport just using video. And he went, wow, that's so cool. How do we do that? Right? Can you do that for me? Like if I sat there and said, yeah, I'll create 8 landing pages. I'll create the scripts for those 8 people. I'll put a link to a scheduled calendar appointment in that system, set it up with maybe some email sequences in the background. Of course I could do that. I know how that works, right? If I was doing that, I'd probably charge him probably about $40,000 or $50,000 to set that up for him, because we would get the videos shot professionally, with a bit of background, make them look very professional, because he's a professional service firm on New York Stock Exchange, blah, blah, blah. So we've got to put some professionality to it. But I said, and he says, how much would something like that cost me? And I said, well, if we were doing it properly, you're probably looking at anywhere between 50 to 100 grand. And he said, wow, that's cheap. That's what he said to me. Wow, that's cheap.
That is crazy. That is crazy.
Yeah. Well, sorry about that.
Yeah, so here's 2 lessons that you guys learned. But before we jump into that, we see you, a lot of you are here right now with us on consultingrocket.tv/live. If you have any questions, comments, or anything like that, hop on in to the call just below this video. There's a button that says click to speak with John. Just hop on in and you can have an unscripted conversation about your business, how much you're charging, how you're engaging, what conversations can you have. And if you don't want to jump on camera, you can do it without your camera, or just leave a comment below and I'll communicate that to John. And so what we learned, this is super important, because a lot of times, and I do it too all the time, we assume that something is expensive or cheap, right? Like we have a price in our head and we go like, $3,000 for this, that's too much, right? Where for someone will be like, just $3,000. So what advice do you give to people that, kind of like sabotaging themselves with their own mindset, going like, I don't know if I can charge that much.
So
They're not even, they
I'm
can't
glad,
even say that out
yeah.
loud.
Okay, I'm glad you asked this question because there's a couple of philosophy here. Number one philosophy, if you can't buy it, if you don't own it and you can't buy it, nobody else is going to buy it. So if you are reluctant to share a price, the person you're speaking to is going to see that reluctance, is going to feel that from you, and is going to knock it back because you don't own it. If you don't believe in the value of what you offer to the marketplace, then the person you're selling to won't believe it either. They shouldn't see that value either. So here's a first thing in the understanding of that. At the end of the day, think about the amount of time, effort, and energy it goes to put something into place. So, for example, if we're running a Facebook ad campaign, now you can set up a campaign in a matter of hours, right? But that campaign would be pretty basic. It won't be anything. It won't be optimized correctly. The message, the offer, the copy, the creative. You might be a bit of a copy and paste. But there's no thought that's gone into that. And one of the things that you want to understand as a consultant or as a marketing person or as somebody who's offering a service is that your knowledge is valuable. So think of the amount of hours that you spend knowing or learning what you've learnt. Think about the time or the knowledge, and then more importantly, think about the impact of that. So for example, if I was doing an ad campaign for a physical therapist and we were able to generate 100 patient opportunities, and out of that 100 patient opportunities, they were able to close maybe 15 patients, and those 15 patients spent an average of $2,000 on a plan of care, so they made $30,000, and if they did that every single month, that would be $30,000 a month over a 12-month period. That would be $360,000 in patient revenue just from my Facebook ad campaign. Is it worth that company investing $30,000 to $40,000 or more in my services to pick up that $360,000? Now, I know in your head the obvious answer to that is yes, because of the value. So here's my philosophy on price. Think about the amount of time that you will take to actually implement or effectively deliver that outcome. Charge a minimum of $100 per hour for that, right? And then what you want to do is 3x the price. So let's say it takes you 5 hours, or let's say it takes you 10 hours to develop a proper campaign for a Facebook ad campaign, 10 hours to optimize, set it up properly to run that campaign, the creative. That's at $100 at 10 hours, it's $1,000 for your time. And then what you want to do is you want to add, because that's your cost, right? You want to add your profit. And your profit, let's say you want to do 100% profit. So most people would think, add another $1,000 and you're
right, $2,000.
But you're not. 100% is not $2,000. 100% is $3,000 because you're still having $1,000 in cost. And the other $1,000 is your gross profit. So you have a 50% increase on margin, not a 100%. 100% increase on margin is tripling the price. So now you get to keep $2,000 and pay out $1,000. That is 100% margin on retail, right? So now you 3x. So now you're actually making a profit, which is what you want to be doing in the business, right? So instead of charging somebody $1,000, now you're going to charge them $3,000. And because of the time, energy, and effort that you place into this, then some people, if you offer it, they'll buy it. Often one of the things I'll say, and this happens to champions all the time. We had a champion the other day who only charged $5,000 to build a website, $5,000, and that's all they ever charged. They same thing, $5,000. They worked out how much gross profit margin they make on it. They outsource it to somebody. They figure they make a couple of grand out of a $5,000 website. And I said, but do you set up automation like email marketing, opt-in pages, landing pages for campaigns? Do you put those in the website? So yeah, we do those. And you don't charge them any extra for that? So no, we don't charge them any extra. That's just part and parcel. But these are all pages that are designed to help them convert customers, right? That they can drive traffic to, or advertising to, or even their own traffic to those pages. Yes, and these pages are worth money. So instead of charging $5,000, why don't you charge $15,000, right? And so they went out and they offered the next website to the next person, explaining, hey, basic website, normally we do a $5,000, but if you want this thing to convert and you want things like landing pages for your ads, landing pages for your campaigns, running multiple different tests or different pages, then it's going to cost you, for a proper converting website, they start at $15,000. And the person said, we want the converting website. We'll pay the $15,000, right? So pricing is, you want to price on value, right? Not just on cost. And the other thing I'll say is whatever price comes into your head when you're about to offer the price, if you want to make a 20% increase in net profit, is increase the price just by 20%. So if you're going to charge somebody $1,500, charge them $1,800. If you're going to charge somebody $2,000, charge them $2,400. You're going to charge somebody $5,000, charge them $4,500, right? $6,000. Increase the price by 20%, because most people do not know the price until you share it with them. And you want to look people in the eye, like you look yourself in the eye when you're looking into a mirror, and you want to say, this strategy, the investment in the strategy is worth X amount of dollars. The results that come from this strategy are tens of thousands and sometimes millions of dollars worth of outcome. So the investment in this phase or in this process is this much. Look yourself in the eye, say that to yourself, and then when you sit down with a client, you say exactly the same thing. Look, at the end of the day, the investment in this process, in this program, in this service is X amount of dollars. The reason, obviously, is, ultimately, we're trying to achieve this outcome and bridge this gap. And, one client will more than probably double or triple the investment that you make in this particular service. So the idea is we're giving you great value, and this is the price point we're offering at the moment. So that's the thing on price. So if you own it, you will sell it. If you own it, but if you don't own it, you won't sell it.
And it's so true. And guys, a lot of times, we might feel very uncomfortable doing that, doing the selling. And if you do, outsource that. Get a salesperson. All the stuff that you're not that great at. I've done exactly the same thing. I think, John, you have salespeople as well, appointment setters, people who write copy. So do the stuff that you're fantastic at, and outsource the stuff that you're not so great at. So you're not, shooting yourself in the foot, right? And so we have Peter here with us, and he's on his phone. So his question is, I'm just getting started, and I know a bit about a lot, if that makes sense. Jack of all trades. Yep. I have no specific skill, for example, Facebook ads, and I have no specific niche or target. How would you narrow down both? Tough one.
Peter says, "I prefer you put this in chat." I just saw this here.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Peter, what you want to do is you want to pick one thing. Just pick a thing. Pick a thing that you like the idea of. Don't pick 5 things. Don't pick 10 things. Pick a thing that you like, right? What I'd highly recommend is you do a little bit of Googling and ask what are the best strategies about this thing. If I was going to pick Facebook ads or AdWords, what's the best way to run an AdWords campaign? What is the workflow to run a successful Facebook ad campaign? So you know that you can see, okay, we've got to start with the message, we've got to start with the offer, we're going to start with the audience, we're going to start with the creative, we're going to start with the copy, and then from there we're going to attach that to, do we want them to buy now, do we want them to fill in a form? So you can walk through the basics or the fundamentals of the campaign. Now, if I was starting out Facebook advertising, what I would do is I would go and hire a white label Facebook ad service to do the advertising and the stuff for me, because they're the expert. But what I would do is I would learn just the fundamental basics. Pick one thing. If it's Facebook ads, how does it get a result for a market? If it's picking a niche, forget about picking a niche. If you're just starting out, Peter, you just want to get a client. You want to get a client in any niche. And so if you want to do Facebook advertising, understand the fundamentals, work with a white label partner for the delivery, but sit there and say, look, at the end of the day, this is how a Facebook campaign should work for a business, like for most businesses, right? And you walk through a simple workflow where you can just Google best way to run a Facebook ad campaign, and then just show it to people. Just say, hey, look, I've got a team of people. They're managing hundreds of thousands of dollars in AdWords, Facebook campaigns every single month. They're really good at optimizing, setting up the campaigns and strategizing. And so that's my team. That's my black box. So that's how you get started really quickly without having the intimate knowledge or the skills that you believe to be the authority in the marketplace. Then I'd highly recommend that you go and look at Facebook ad agencies in your city, wherever you are, Peter. Pick the top Facebook ad agencies, go and check out their websites, go and check out what they're selling, go and check out who they're selling it to, right? Their testimonials, case studies, go and check out who, and give them a call and say, hey, I'm reaching out to businesses. I'm talking to businesses all the time. I'm looking to refer customers to Facebook ad agencies just like you. Do you mind telling me, how do you help people with their campaigns? right? So you literally just call and say, how do you help people with their campaigns? And you'll see some of them will demonstrate how they help people. Some people won't know how to answer that question and they're terrible, but yet they're still able to get clients, even being terrible in the market at selling their services. So the reason I'm asking you to do this, Peter, is so that it gives you an idea of what people are doing, what people are sharing, how they're doing it, and so you can see a cadence. So don't pick, like when you say, I'm a master of so many things. Well, that's because you're distracted, you're interested, you're curious, you're all those things, and you're learning. So what you want to do is you want to pick one thing, one offer. Don't worry about a niche. Think about the types of businesses that would benefit from that offer. Not one business, but the types of businesses. And then there might be 4 or 5. And then the easiest way is, does anybody know, like go to your friends, families, and say, do you know anybody who runs this type of business? Right? Because right now I've figured out running a simple Facebook ad campaign can generate great results. And I just want to share that concept with somebody who's running a business. And if you know somebody who is a doctor or a plumber or a carpenter or an electrician or a house remodeler or an accountant or a financial planner or whoever, do you know somebody in business, right? That I can show this to, and then say, great, look, can I show you how this works? Because most businesses don't get it, right? So then you understand you've got a fundamental framework. You've got a process and say, you know what, I've got a team. If I can go to my team, we can sit down and look at what this looks like. We can come back, devise a campaign. If you like, we can help you out if you're interested. That's how you sell straight out of the gate. The thing that I would recommend, Peter, that you do is that you speak to business owners. Understand how businesses work, understand how they sell, what they sell, who they sell to, learn business. Don't learn internet marketing, learn business, right? And then
if we can say that enough time,
Yeah.
how many times can we say that? It's not internet marketing.
No. So that's the way I would do it. Understand the basics and the fundamentals. Then find somebody who'll deliver the work. Go and check out how other people are sharing it to the marketplace. And then start, Peter. Don't second guess yourself. Don't get apprehensive about, oh, what if this is the wrong thing, blah, blah. We all start somewhere, Peter. We all start with our first client. Your real objective here is to get a paying customer to invest in your service, right? Not what type of business or what niche. That'll come later, because when you figure it out, when you start getting clients, 2 or 3 clients, and you're learning and you're making mistakes and you're getting results, and all of a sudden things start to work, then you might identify a niche because you're able to get a result for a particular business. But when you're starting out, you want to just get a customer. You want to get a paying customer who's interested in investing in your services, and you want to learn just the fundamentals and work with somebody who's already getting results, can already provide stats for you. We use people like resource partners all the time, and they help people. We have people building $1 million agencies using a resource partner, and they've never run a Facebook ad in their entire life. They wouldn't even know how to run a Facebook ad, right? So it's not about that how, it's about the what and the why that you need to understand. Some basic fundamentals. If you learn the thing and you start mastering that thing, you get better at communicating that, sharing that, getting feedback, and say, hey, what if we could help? What if I can get my team to be able to devise a strategy to get the results you're looking for? Can we put something together like that? Can we get started, right? That's how I would do this, Peter. That's how you get into business, like anybody gets into business. You start by sharing, talking to one customer at a time.
Which is great. So yesterday we talked about how to find those people, right? So if you haven't watched that, go over to replays and watch that. Demian says, hi, John, and watch the training from yesterday, because that was a step-by-step exactly how to find people who can afford to pay you 4 to 5 figures. And after you do, then you contact them. So in the previous training, right, we had a little bit of pre-training leading up to this. And in that previous training, if you opt on into consultingrocket.tv, you will get that. We were talking about 5 technologies that people can use in order to reach out to the prospect we found yesterday and start the conversation with them. So let's cover that, John.
From yesterday's conversation, well, we were trying to get lead lists.
Oh, no. We talked about so in the previous training that we had, we talked about 5 technologies that you can use to start getting people into conversation. Text, Messenger, Facebook Messenger.
Sorry. Okay. So yeah, I mean, look, email is one. It's very easy to email people. Facebook posting, making an offer in a Facebook post is a very powerful way to open the door to opportunity. Another way is text messaging people. So if you collect mobile phone numbers, you can text them. Another way is you can do a voice drop. You can use tools like Bonbon or Bonjoro to actually drive a small video in an email, so you can actually video chat to people. And you can use Messenger. Messenger is a very powerful way to engage directly because people do respond or do view their Messenger apps. And the other thing that often you can do, and most people forget this, and it's probably the most powerful tool on the planet, and that's to pick up the phone and have a quick conversation, say, hey, are you interested in something like this? But there are 5 ways that you can reach out to people using platforms that they're available to. But number 1, email is very easy if you have an email. If you have a mobile phone number, you can text. If you've got them on Facebook, you can communicate them, or Twitter, you can do direct messaging. On Twitter, people respond to those, probably about an 8% conversion rate or response to those types of messages. And then from there, you've got you've got the ability to post, and you've got the ability to actually pick up the phone and say hi. And the last one, if you think about it, if I look at the most successful people that I work with and the most successful agencies on the planet, they are all directly picking up the phone and communicating with their market. That's why they're the fastest growing agencies in the world.
And what's something we're not sharing right now, this is something that, John, you're only sharing with, I know, your private clients. So we'll save that for later because we're going to get to the sale and we get to all that stuff. But you have a system of how to pass the gatekeepers, and how to pick up the phone. A lot of people are really scared of that, right? So we'll talk about that when we get to closing the phone, and all these things. But right now, guys, what you have is a list of prospects, and you have the technologies to talk to them and reach out to them and engage with them: text, email, messenger, phone, right? And then you have the 3 questions that John gave you at the beginning. Do you need help with this service? Can I show you what's already working? Can I teach you how this works so you can do this yourself? And then John talked about what you're teaching is not the how, it's the what and the why, which I think is the hardest thing for people who know so much to focus on. So is there a way that, I heard say something and then put duct tape on your face so you're not going too many ways? Is there a way to kind of not dive into the how when they're going but how do you do this?
Yeah, so when you're doing this, you need to think about your conversations before you go into them. You want to be a little bit more prepared. So one of the things that I'm mindful of is think of the outcome. So what's the outcome that people are trying to achieve with, or the result that you're trying to get, right? If we think of the outcome, then we've got to think about, why is it important? Why does Facebook or AdWords or funnels or websites or apps or coding, why does it help this outcome? So why is it important to do this to get this result? Why is this platform? Why Facebook? Right? Mm-hmm. Well, you can brand, you can message, you can target the audience more effectively, you can test, you can geo-target or geo-fence, you can actually manage your ad spend in accordance to what's popular, you can scale a campaign. There's all these reasons why Facebook is important, right? It's engaging, it's on everybody's mobile device. 1 in 5 people spend one in 5 people are spending at least every 10 minutes looking at their Facebook pages. So these are all the reasons why Facebook has power, right? To be able to engage or communicate a message, right? So we know the result is we want to be able to reach an audience. The why is, well, because all these cool things that Facebook can enable you to do. And then so the what is, well, what you've got to do is you've got to have an offer. You've got to identify an audience. You've got to have your creative, right? You've got to have a compelling creative, whether it be video or image or whatever, right? Then you've got to have some cool copy. And this is a strategy. Right, so we're devising a strategy to communicate with an audience, to grab their attention for 3 seconds so that they go down the rabbit hole and start to buy with you, just like you do when you're on your phone. One of the questions I often ask people, I say to people, did you look at this phone to do a Google search today? I often, when I speak in front of audiences, I ask people, say, look, you've got one of these devices, so there's pretty much most people in the Western world have a smartphone of some kind. Have you used it to search Google today? Have you used it to search Google for a business or a service in the last week? And everyone would say, yeah, absolutely, right? So when you search for a topic, or, for the need, or for, like, for example, I might sit and say, hey, I'm looking for a restaurant nearby, right? So I've got a couple of different choices. I can go top 10 restaurants at Venice Beach, right? If I want to see the top 10 restaurants, and I want to view the top 10 restaurants, right? If I'm on my feed, I might be sitting there, thinking, oh, there's a restaurant in the local area because I've been retargeted, because I've visited a restaurant review site, right? So all of a sudden now they've got me, right? And I'm starting to see restaurant ads in Venice Beach, California, all over the place, right? What I'm doing is I'm just demonstrating, right, what goes on to make this work. I'm not telling them how I'm going to optimize a campaign in the campaign manager. I'm not telling them how I'm going to actually set some A/B split tests and budgets to test those campaigns. I'm not sitting there saying, hey, we're going to change one word or one image or one creative, or we're going to do a split test on 2 messaging. We're going to do a couple of videos. I don't go into the detail. All I'm saying, why is Facebook important? What is going to help you get the best possible result with Facebook? And then great, do you want to do something about it? Because the how is my IP. That's my black box. That's why you're hiring me. You're hiring me because I know how to do all these things.
And so would you tell them that, like, when someone says, so how would you do that?
Yeah.
Your answer would be like, I know how to.
We've got a team of people here that spend hundreds of hours every single week pouring away at all the changes that Facebook makes, looking at the algorithm changes, looking at all the things. So, we've got some tech geeks who really know what they're doing. They're really into the numbers and the data, and that's how we do it.
Yep.
And I'm still not showing them how they go into all the numbers and the data and I've got guys that have been on this platform for 4 years, working in, managing hundreds of thousands of dollars of ad campaigns every single month. They're in the platform daily, watching and monitoring campaigns and checking and making adjustments, and that's how they do it.
Yep. So
you don't have the time, money, or expertise. That's why you're hiring us. That's why you want our black box of experts who've been sitting in here for hours doing all this stuff. Yep.
And if we don't have a team, then we would say, like, I know how to do this, but you...
Well, you don't have to say I don't have a team, because you can always find a team. Or if you're the expert, then yeah, I've sat down and I've run multiple campaigns, and this is what, I actually go through a whole process. I have a system and a process to maximize your opportunity for results. But you don't need to sit there and go, how do I do this? How do I do that? Some people are going to get into a conversation. So how does that actually work? Well, I don't know. I don't control Facebook's algorithms, for starters, but here's a gist of basically what goes on. Are you familiar with algorithmic calculations on data transfer? Because I could spend 3 hours explaining algorithmic data transfer if that's what I'm an expert in, right?
Yeah.
But that's what it's going to take. You don't need to. If you're getting into the weeds of the how, you're losing people, and you've also lost the conversation, because they're asking questions of you, and you should be asking questions of them. So the person who asks the questions, the person is in control of the conversation. If a client takes you down the rabbit hole, well, how does this work? And how does this work? And how does this work? So great. So you've got to apply this and implement this, because this is just a conversation.
Yeah.
Right. So if you want to apply this, well, let's sit down and we can go and work out the data algorithm. How are we going to actually assess how we target your audience, right? It's going to take me about 15 hours to go through how we go through that process. You got the time?
Yeah. And you got the money, right? Because we don't do that for free.
Yeah. The how is what they pay you for.
Yes.
The what and the why is what they need to understand of why this is important and what this is, what the impact is, what it does for them to contribute to the result that they're looking for. That's where you want to get to.
So we covered a lot today, guys. And we covered the technologies that you're going to use, text, email, messaging. We covered the questions. We covered the what and the why and the why, not the how. And that all takes them to an appointment, right? So tomorrow we are going to finish this conversation with inviting them to an appointment where you can actually sell them. What they need to do today? What do they need to do today, John?
Go and offer to teach somebody what you know. Mm-hmm. Just go and teach somebody. And the question you want to ask them is, hey, what was the best thing you got out of this? And would you like to do this for yourself, or would you like me to do it for you?
2 questions.
Right. So first question, What did you get out of what I've shared with you? What's the cool thing you picked up, or what was probably what's the thing that stood out to you that you picked up from what we talked about? Number two, right? Would you like to go and apply what we've taught you, or would you like us to take care of it for you?
There you go.
And if they say we'd like you to take care of it, they're going to ask you how much is it going to cost, and then you're just going to tell them.
Right there and then, or are you going to do a whole presentation?
You can sit there and say, well, okay, to do this properly, what we're going to do is we're going to devise a plan, and then we're going to sit down and we're going to map out that plan for this campaign, and from there, your investment's going to be anywhere from $3,000 to $10,000, depending on what you want to charge, and from there we're going to get this going, right? You can pick a price.
Yeah.
Phase one, we set up the campaign. So there's a fee for setup. You don't do it for free. That's the other thing. People don't give away all your valuable time, energy, and effort for free. A lot of people do that. And if you don't value what you do, then the person who you're talking to can't value that either. But if you value your expertise, they are more likely to buy. They are more likely to give you money if you value your expertise. But if you don't value it and you give it away for free all the time, then of course, when you come down to the price, and you give away your setup and you give away all those things, then 9 times out of 10, what happens is you're opening yourself up to somebody not valuing what you do, and if they don't value what you do, they're going to buy what you have to offer because it's worth nothing.
Yeah.
Right? But if you place a value on it, all right, and you can even charge for it. Sorry, my earpiece is falling out. You can even charge for it. Right, then people will pay you. Some of my champions this week have closed $5,000 and $10,000 presentation strategy sessions where they're pitching an idea and getting paid to pitch their idea. Yeah, they're not doing it for free. They're not doing free strategy sessions. They're doing paid strategy sessions. Tomorrow, when you hop on the call in live training, I'm going to show you when you're setting up an appointment how you can actually get paid for it as well. Not just paid for it, you can do it for free, but you can also get paid for your time. So if you come back, if you share this with as many people as possible, for those who are playing the game to win the prizes, I'm going to show you how you actually engage, set up a proper appointment with somebody who's going to agree to make a decision to buy your services. That's what's going to happen on the next training. And the next thing that's going to happen to that, I will share with you. If you remind them to ask me, you don't ask me, let the audience ask. If you let the audience remind me tomorrow, how do we get paid for the strategy session as opposed to giving a free one, right? Yeah. That will be a game changer for a lot of people because you might as well get paid for your time that you share, that you strategize, that you share your ideas and knowledge, actually get paid for that, value that. More importantly, when they pay for your time, they're more likely to buy what you have to offer because they've already made an investment in your knowledge.
And it positions you above what everybody else in the market is doing because everybody's giving away free strategies and you're not. So you automatically position higher, right?
Yeah, let's get paid. Let's not work for free. I don't know about you, but we've got to eat. We've got to, we've got a life to aspire to, and so we might as well get paid for our ideas. And people pay lots of money for people's ideas. They pay in some cases, hundreds of thousands of dollars just for ideas.
That's right.
Just for ideas.
So that will be tomorrow, guys. So tomorrow, consultingrocket.tv/live, same time, 6 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on the page. We're going to help you do just that. Thank you so much, John. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks, Yifat. Appreciate it. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you guys.
Same time, same back channel.
Bye-bye.